Well, hello, Alicia here from Bridechilla. I'm the founder of Bridechilla and the host of the Bridechilla podcast, and I am presenting these here videos, and today is day 24 of the Bridechilla 30 Days of Wedding Planning. And today is all about, well, I want to say mother-in-laws, but it can also, I don't want to diss on mother-in-laws because we love the mother-in-laws, but it's really about people, family members, being a bit intense and involved in your wedding when you just want them to back the fuck off. So that is the topic today. I don't know where you are at your wedding planning journey, where you are at making big decisions and how your relationships are. This is general advice for everyone. Some people have great working relationships with their parents and in-laws, and they've got boundaries and they know how people work, but other times, for a lot of Bridechillas that I've met over the past 3 years of producing the Bridechilla podcast, it's a time when you are combining families, you're getting to know the intricacies of the family dynamics, and you are also trying to cement your place in their family and your new family that you're creating with your partner. This can cause some hiccups, and it's really basic psychology when you sort of step back and look at it, that I go back to mother-in-laws, and this is not me focusing on a cliche. It's more just, and this happens with mothers of women as well. This is not a gendered thing. But you're their child. You are, moving on in life and you've matured, and it's a sort of a time where you are sort of saying, I'm creating my own path and creating my own family, and I will be the matriarch of my family. And it can be challenging for some parents, and they want the best for you, and sometimes the best for you means that they feel like they have to step in and take control or still be a parent and give you lots of advice when really you don't necessarily want the advice, and they are a bit controlling. So how do you stop this? How do you at least make sure that your relationships come out intact but still be able to stand your ground? Because I think that's very important. Sometimes people just say, oh, just let it wash over me. I'll just be a pushover to get it done. I just don't want to cause problems. But this also, I think, is a dangerous way to deal with things, because you are starting a new relationship, or maybe you've been with your partner for 10 years, but it's still this idea of marriage sometimes changes people's, does something to them, where they're like, oh, this is serious now. Yeah, they've been together for 10 years, but now they're getting married. This is serious now. Crazy. But something switches where they feel like they get a bit defensive, and they feel like they have to come in and make some statements. And then if you allow this to happen, or if you cope with it in a certain way, or you don't step in and maybe make some statements and communicate how you're feeling, this could go on for the next 30 to 40 years. And that to me is really scary. So if you're in the situation where you have a particular family member, whether that is from your side of the family or your partner's, that is being a little bit, coming in, saying their piece, being a little bit manipulative, or making their opinions known to the point that it's becoming uncomfortable for you, or potentially, one thing I hear all the time is, oh, my partner doesn't like to say to their parents that they're being a bit bossy. They just go whatever. But for you, it's like, hey, step up and say something, because we're on a team together. So it can be very confronting for you and your partner to have to go, actually, this doesn't work for me. What they're saying or how they're acting doesn't work for me. You got to step up and say it too. Really hard for a lot of people, and I'm certainly not saying that it's just like that, but I do really believe in being able to be cool. Use my favorite phrase that I talk about in my book and I talk about on the podcast is, that's not going to work for me. And I got that from Oprah. So if Oprah says it. But it's a really nice way to say, if your mother-in-law's saying, you know what, I don't think you should get married at the vineyard. I think you should get married in our garage. And you're like, listen, Sharon, thank you so much for being so encouraging. And we really appreciate that very generous offer of, your garage. But that's not really going to work for us. I think we're going to go for the vineyard. And it's a nice way just to shut shit down. There are various variations of that phrase. But by actually standing your ground and saying what you need to say and being polite, but also being quite, it really does lay the foundations, I believe, for the future without shit stirring. You don't want to stir the pot too much, but you just want to be firm, polite, friendly, but also stand your ground. Was that helpful? Gee, I hope so. I enjoy speaking with you. If you like hearing my voice, or maybe you don't, maybe you like that Australian shit, then maybe the Bridechilla podcast isn't for you. But I think if you've gotten this far, you may be interested in listening to Bridechilla. I've produced over 300 episodes of that show, the Bridechilla podcast, and I would love for you to listen and enjoy. And also, if you are in the mood for purchasing wedding planning guides, these are my bullshit-free wedding planning guides. The Survival Guide is a full wedding planning book. Look at all those words, can't see them. And the Field Guide is the book that you take with you to appointments. You keep track of all your stuff. It's full of charts. Look at this, I love this. Here you go, 100 guests, 5 hours. Here's the wedding booze breakdown. I tell you how to get your booze in order. I loved writing them and I love sharing them with you, and I'm loving all the wonderful reviews coming back. So thank you. Until tomorrow's episode, I wish you the very best and happy